Hello guys, thanks so much for joining me today. My name is Keeliereason. If this is your first time here with me, I am the owner of lovehopeadventure.com. Hey, thanks for joining. I was actually just showing you this picture of this plant. This is kind of going to be hard to show you the whole thing. I love this plant, by the way. It's part of this is actually part of my scope today, what I wanted to talk with you about. I was actually having a conversation earlier with someone about blessing your spouse, and we talked about how, this person was trying to find some ways to bless their spouse in ways that their spouse would appreciate it. And I think it's so important that we understand that everyone gives love in a different way and receives it in a different way. So I think there are definitely some things that communicate love across the board, but there are ways that you can bless your spouse and show them that you love them in different ways. Thanks for joining. So it's really important that you understand your spouse's love language. And I know that that book is out, the 5 love languages. And I think that has opened the doors and opened eyes up for a lot of people to understand that everyone does it different. We all accept love in different ways, so your love language may not be the same as your spouse. It's really important that you figure out, though, the things that they appreciate the most. What I have found is, we have this idea that it's the thought that counts, and I'm not saying that the thought doesn't count. It really does. But if you want to really bless your spouse, if you want to really show them that you care for them, you have to do it in a way that they understand. From my experience, what happens if you try to bless your spouse in a way that they don't accept love or accept blessings is they won't appreciate it. And then it really just ends up hurting your feelings because you put yourself out there to do this thing for them and they just didn't even appreciate it. What they really appreciate, though, is you communicating with them in a way that they really like or really appreciate. So, for example, this week I had a really bad day, maybe Monday or Tuesday. I don't even remember what the day was. And my husband brought home eggnog for me. All right, this only comes out at the holidays, and I actually love putting it in my coffee. I had such a bad day that day. He went to the store to get, I don't even remember what he went to get for me, but he brought home like literally everything that I like, including donuts, the eggnog, this plant that I was showing you. And I can't remember what else he brought home to me, but it was like, okay, Keely's had a bad day. I'm going to go get everything that she likes and bring it home to her. And that was such a blessing to me. For my husband, I've had to learn that he genuinely appreciates tech-related things, and he's sort of, just really enjoys sci-fi, enjoys tech-type things. That's not who I am, but I have really learned to communicate with him in those ways, it's an orchid. Thanks, JD. I couldn't remember what it was. I do love them, though. They're really awesome. So my husband likes, when I text him or when I Facebook him things or use digital forms of communication, that's not my preferred method of communicating, but it is something that he genuinely appreciates. And you know what else is really cool about that? When you go outside of your comfort zone to bless your spouse, it shows them even more how much you love them and care for them. So I think sometimes we think that all of what we do to bless our spouses boils down to what happens in the bedroom, because we all have our differences and things that we like and sexual preference, but the same thing happens in day-to-day living. The way you communicate with one another, the way that you share things with each other, whatever that is, we have to understand how to actually relate to our spouse and stop trying to get them to relate in the way that we relate. That is something I know I really struggled with over, the first several years of our marriage. I wanted my husband to respond the way I responded to things, to communicate the way I communicate, and I didn't want to actually listen to what he needed. I wanted him to need the same exact thing that I needed. And so we've definitely grown a lot as a couple in that. When you understand what your spouse needs and you work to meet those needs, bless them in ways that they genuinely appreciate, you will grow in a deeper relationship with each other. Today, I challenge you to go out there, find a way to bless your spouse in a way that they really like. For example, my husband knows I love to dance, and he did not love dancing, but he has done that so much for me lately. He'll grab me when a song is playing and dance with me because he knows how important that is to me, but it's not his natural tendencies. And you might think to yourself, well, if I go and do these things that aren't who I am, then I'm not being true to myself. And that's actually not true. When you do it with the right motivations, when you say, my spouse likes this thing that isn't really who I am, but I want to do it for them so that they know I'm making an effort, that helps your relationship. That doesn't make you untrue to yourself. So I hope you'll remember that as you're finding ways to bless your spouse this week. If you want any more marriage advice or tips or tricks or anything like that, please go over to my website, lovehopeadventure.com, and I look forward to talking with you guys tomorrow.